this is part two. Um, so for a few more years, I uh, I continued like this on painkillers and stuff, and my scarring in my chest started healing and attaching to my chest and stuff, and got a lot worse. I got to the point that one time I went in bed and I went to come off of methadone. I came off of methadone and I knew something was seriously wrong this time. I had been on Seroquel, an antipsychotic for sleep. I just used it for sleep. So I never realized I was still on an antipsychotic. And so I took it away, and what happened was all of a sudden I could not walk. I get up, I couldn't walk. I know now as dystonic spasms in my back, my legs, plus the akathisia and all the stuff that comes with, and obviously my chronic regional pain syndrome. I got to the point where I couldn't even speak. I couldn't talk. I couldn't eat. I went down to 95 pounds. I went from that's what I was, to 95 pounds. No one was asking me questions. Could this be wrong or could that be wrong? No one ever, they just didn't. For years, just telling me this and that, and I'll later tell you why I found out, but I was in my bed and it was getting desperate. I wasn't sleeping anymore. It was impossible to sleep, and I didn't want to be on painkillers anymore, and that made it even worse. I got to the point where I was just afraid of everything. I was just on benzos. That was it. So what I would do is every once in a while I'd give myself a treat and I'd go on a painkiller. And if I did, I would just take a whole bunch and just sleep the whole day. Just rest. It felt good. But I get so desperate, I was just completely suicidal. Akathisia makes you suicidal, chronically suicidal. That's what it does to you. Anger, rage, restlessness, rage, anger, yelling. But this left me at a point where I couldn't even speak. And so what I did one night is I took a bunch of painkillers. And I told my parents I'm getting up and I'm going to the hospital. So I would literally go out, I walk around for 12 hours at a time. And usually at the end of that, how could I walk for 12 hours? Because I took a large dose of painkillers and I'd build up endorphins walking. And it did hurt in the beginning, but I went out and first time I tried to put a ligature around my neck, but I passed out in an Benadryl overdose. Brought to the hospital. My dad actually found me. I did that again, took painkillers, left my bed, and I went up and I went to a pool near my house and I hung myself. I put a ligature around my neck and overdose, and I let the weight do the rest. A woman found me, and when I woke up I was in hell. Hell, I tell you, hell. If you don't think you know hell, this is hell. I woke up and I was so overdosed, and they asked me, can you pee? And I said no, because it was hard. But I didn't know what they meant, and I can only remember like really clips about this. And I was on an operating table, going from clip to clip. I was on an operating table. I'm like, why am I there? My shirt's off and my pants are off. They're trying to put stents down my penis. And I'm in a delusional delirium from a Benadryl overdose, and they don't know and it's contraindicated in putting those in because it makes your urethra spasm. I screamed for 45 minutes. This is documented. Even though I was screaming, they were letting me go on. I was in a catatonic-like state. My muscles were locked. But I could scream until a woman behind me said, no one in their right mind would take that much pain without trying to stop. I thought I was being tortured. I'm telling you right now, I did not know the difference. For 45 minutes, they tried to put 6 different stents down my penis, each time bigger. And from what all I know is 2 liters of blood came out. I would look down, and there was a lot of blood coming. That gives me nightmares. I don't think I have to tell you much, just that. Picture a needle down your penis. But I got over it, but I lost the use of my right arm. I didn't know why, and I had to bring in neurology. This is when I was starting to get recover over it. I ended up with something called a brachial plexus partial avulsion. Just look it up. Car accidents happen. People with seat belts. It tore part of my spine, my shoulder from my spine, and it hurt a lot. It got intractable, and my chronic regional pain syndrome went from my feet to my scar, up to my neck, all through here, and man, that almost put the nails in my coffin. So can you imagine all the things I'm telling you? I'm just building up more and more injuries, and I'm doing this because of akathisia, tardive dyskinesia, and because no one can tell me what the hell is going on. So I just keep trying to kill myself. So I do that. I hung myself, and I ended up with a brachial plexus, a nightmare surgery, which I thought was torture. I spent 6 months in a bed like that. I spent 2 years on a couch, I didn't even know why, with my legs underneath me, up, in a completely dystonic position. And I'm sorry, there's just so much here. I talked to my family at one point, and I said to them, I talked to my dad, and this was an idea for a long time to go to Switzerland and end my life. I talked to my family, my aunt, I talked to everyone. They agreed that maybe this is the best thing, this is too much. And I knew how I was going to do it. I was just going to starve myself of air. So about 2 weeks after I talked to them, that's exactly what I did. I'm not going to give you details, but suffice to say that I cut myself off of air, and I didn't have something right. I didn't have one of the suicidal plan right. And I ended up getting knocked out, and when I woke up, I was so confused I didn't know what was happening. And I was in something called hypoxia. I'm glad it wasn't severely acute, and I woke up and I couldn't grab a breath, and I didn't know what was happening. And after a while, it started going away, but I was really, really sick. And I failed that attempt too. These attempts are serious. I have no idea why I'm still here, and other people have no idea either. That was my last suicide attempt. I didn't do that one and feeling guilt though, because I knew I was in too much suffering that I just wanted to end it. And I do believe in the right to life. Some people just aren't. Some people just shouldn't be in that amount of pain, period. In this amount of pain. So I basically, because of all these drug reactions, akathisia, just tardive dyskinesia, dystonia, tics in my face, uncontrolled muscle movements at night, my limbs fly at rest or whatever. I can never sit down. I will never sit down except at dinner time, and it can be provoking. When you sit down, I'm going to give you the definition of akathisia. It's not the same in everyone, but some people moan and pace restlessly. Their legs hurt like hell. It's a torment. You rage. You get very, very angry and frustrated. You can't do finite things. It's an impossible life. It's an agony and torment. I have the worst pain on earth, and I'm telling you, this is worse than akathisia is worse than the worst pain on earth. It's a different type of pain. It's a movement disorder, and it's a different movement disorder at that. I've lost my life with my brother, my friends, my family, destroyed me, destroyed my family. I can't sue, I can't do anything. The best prevention, the best treatment for this is actually prevention. That is the treatment. Abilify alone made $7 billion last year. They don't even have so much as a helpline. That would cost them, what, $1,000 a year? What happened to me 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, I prayed to God and I said to God, please tell me what's wrong. I'm not joking, I asked. Because if you're not really living for anything, what do you know? I had 2 weeks ago, my movements at night started getting worse, and I had taken myself off of benzodiazepines, most of them 5 or 6 months ago. And so 2 weeks ago, I came down after 2 nights of these things getting worse at night, myoclonic movements, just uncontrolled movements, and I thought, what's going on? Then I realized something I hadn't realized after 15 years. I never, ever stop pacing or moving. No one's asked me why. I thought it was just restless pain, so I must have described it that way. And that's what people thought. But people didn't know I'm pacing because I can't stop. I don't sit down. Even when I get cellulitis in my legs were like twice the size they are right now, and I still wouldn't sit down. So I came down and I realized that, and I thought, oh my, this is akathisia. I know what this is. I know what akathisia is. Then I started realizing that I've been so rigid, dystonic, and I can't stop moving. I've been that for a long time. It's just been covered up. Thank God. Thank God I know. And I also found out that I have Asperger's syndrome traits. I'm on the spectrum of autism. That's what I found out in a 2-week period. And so I realized I've been trying to kill myself all this time because of this. It's always been underneath. I can trace it back. Who is responsible for that and those types of things that happened to me? Who's responsible for that? I'll try to be back on part 3.